If you were to combine it with voice recognition, though, because the identical twins would have different voices, presumably.
So that would have its challenges too. The issue becomes...
Or fingerprints?
So if I'm a fraudster, and say it would be two identical twins who, let's say, aren't on speaking terms.
Yeah.
If I commit some sort of fraud using, I'm still registering on my face, so the police would know it's my face. I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot. So we have seen, I guess, businesses who test us with identical twins, more of a fun fact thing. In the real world, we don't have fraudsters using an identical twin problem.
Right, because you might get caught. I mean, do you use voice recognition? Is it possible that you could combine voice and facial recognition? That would be more powerful.
Well, we use voice recognition to the extent that we recognize the randomly generated numbers that the user's saying. So the three randomly generated numbers, any accent anywhere in the world, we'd recognize that. The challenge with voice recognition is twofold. One is you need quite a bit of data to make it accurate. So we want to make it a 20, 30-second experience. We don't have 5 minutes of your recorded voice. Secondly, sophisticated technology now exists to cheat it without too much trouble. And it's a lot harder.
The voice is less secure than the facial recognition.
Correct. So our purpose is using the voice purely for a liveness component, not for a fraud detection in the traditional sense. And that's because sophisticated technology now exists to cheat it quite effectively, whereas facial recognition is so much harder to cheat.
What's to stop criminals, say, stopping someone in the street, mugging them, but instead of the old-fashioned way of mugging them, where you take the cash out of their wallet and their jewellery off them, they say, right, I want you to contact your bank and go through the facial recognition and transfer money to me, to my account.
That is a problem. It is a growing problem too. So there
or withdraw it from the cash point. I mean, there's nothing to stop that happening, I suppose.
Not quite. The more common use cases you can see in certain parts of the world where an individual may be stopped in a car park and asked to go through this process and paid €200 or something to do it. And from their facial expressions, it's sometimes clear that they're under duress.
Yeah.
So some technology could be used for that, but not much more.
You don't have that yet.
We don't have that yet. It's not a large-scale problem, but it's a problem that exists. And even, I guess, you have people forcing you to go to an ATM and pull cash. So those kind of, we are focusing on consent from the individual, but if it's forced consent, sadly, we don't have a way, as it stands, to stop that, although the technology does exist to be able to tell expressions if you're under pressure or not.
Yeah. There's a comment here from Bernd Franke. This could be used to avoid fake accounts. It should be obligatory for opening email accounts and Facebook accounts, as well as for credit card use. Instead of passwords, facial recognition should be used. So you have a fan out there in Bernd. Yeah. What do you think about that? Is the potential? Is unlimited? Is it?
We see it that way. I mean, we can envisage a world in 2 or 3 years from now, or sooner, where you're self-checking into a hotel, you're walking through an airport. You order a service to come to your home, cleaning, nannying, tutoring. You open a payments account, bank accounts, all these through your legal identity. And Facebook we see as having achieved well insofar as helping bring your social identity and helping you share that. LinkedIn is helping you signal your professional identity. Our purpose is to help everyone be able to signal or prove their legal identity. And we see the company that is best able to help individuals easily and securely prove their legal identity is helping access many, many services in a much more convenient way. I firmly believe that we're going to move away from using passwords in only a couple of years from now. And we have 100 of them, right? We can't remember them. They're not secure because someone can guess it. As and when you want to log into any service, an account or otherwise, you're going to get your phone, authenticate yourself with your face and go ahead. Or if you need to change a PIN on your, or change your password on a bank account or transfer more than, say, a big, large amount, like £500, you'd hold your ID in your face and you'd unlock that. Yeah. So you, as a user, it's your legal identity that's going to help you unlock access to all these services.
Do you see us paying for all kinds of things in shops and online using our facial recognition, just using our face? Pay by face, if you like?
Yep. So it has started in some places. The challenge becomes you can't just use only your face. It has to be, that's a single factor. That's, again, it could be the twin scenario, your twin, two people using the same face. So it'd be your face with an app on your phone line and a PIN, or your face and an app and your ID. So it's 3-factor, for instance. And there'd be a threshold, for instance. So if it's a secure account and you're transferring €500, you'd use your face, ID, and app. Whereas if it's just logging into a music account, it's just your face in the app. So when you anchor it with 2 or 3 factors, it becomes so much more secure than a PIN or a password that can so easily be cheated.
But that's slightly less convenient than just scanning your face to pay for something. You then have to scan your passport or your driver's license as well as your face. It's a bit more clunky, isn't it?
Just the way you'd log into an iPhone, you get the phone out, you press the button and use your face, that's the level of ease there would be. So 95% of use cases is just your face on the phone, which makes it 2 factors. And then 1 to 5% of the cases, you may be asked for an ID at the same time.
For the higher value or the higher risk transactions.
And the beauty of it would be that you as a consumer, you would set the risk profile. You'd say, okay, I want to transfer 2,000 euros with only using my face, for instance. But it's quite clear to us as a company that that's very much the way that the world's moving towards.
And most of your clients are, you've got Revolut is one of your clients, correct. Square, which is the online payments business. I mean, a lot of them are the digital companies, digital-based companies, naturally. Have you got any of the big banks using your technology?
We've now started to work with the mainstream banks. The challenge has been that the mainstream banks have been talking about going digital for a long time. And maybe around 3 years ago, they looked at the online banks and it seemed as though some didn't take the online banks too seriously. They thought, how can you have an online bank? All the fraudsters are going to go there. And what the online banks have been able to prove over the last 18 months in particular is that not only are they as scalable, but they've been able to show that their risk and the fraud rates are actually sometimes lower than the mainstream banks. So what the mainstream banks have realized is that all the machine learning and sophisticated technologies that the online banks are using, it can be a SIFT science for behavioral stuff or ours for identity verification. Machine learning technology can do it much better than a human can. And that's why they're scalable. They do it in a leaner way using regtechs such as us. And thirdly, they're able to be as scalable. So that has led them to be able to, that technology to be deployed amongst the mainstream banks. What the mainstream banks seem to be doing is, well, they have one challenge in that millennial signups have kind of dropped off quite significantly because it's an alien notion to register. And across all the customer base, if there's a more convenient option, that's a preferred choice. But the mainstream banks have started to either buy an online bank or spin up a digital online service themselves. And that's where we're particularly active.
Right. Okay. Well, Hussein, thank you very much for joining us. That's unfortunately all we've got time for, but it's been fascinating talking to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.